About 50% of US folks making more than $150,000 yearly still live from one payday to the next. So says Lending Club. Yep, you got it. Even people making big money find it hard to cover their costs. But the reasons might surprise you. Folks who make what used to be called lots of money still can't improve their money situation. Does this mean bad times are coming for folks who make less money? Not really. Let's see why even rich people struggle with money and what can be done to fix it. The money trap. What people often don't see is that more money usually leads to spending more. Almost everyone gets caught in the same money trap that makes them stay in a never-ending work cycle. When folks get more money, they should save more. But what happens is they start spending it right away. They might pay higher rent, get a bigger house loan, buy a new car, order food for every meal, and even go on trips. The truth is, $150,000 isn't as much as it used to be. Years ago, making $150,000 a year was a big deal. You could get a good house in a safe neighborhood, have a pretty new car, and even take your family on nice trips a couple of times a year. But now, that same $150,000 doesn't let you do all those things. It doesn't go as far as it used to. The numbers really make you think. So in short, having more money doesn't always mean you're doing better. It's easy to think you can buy more things or live a fancier life, but that's how you get stuck. You end up not saving and just spending all you've got, and you still won't feel like you have enough. It's a cycle that's hard to break, but very important to be aware of. Price over time, inflation. If we look at how prices go up about 3 to 4% every year, it means $1 today will only be worth half as much in about 18 years. So if you were making $150,000 in 2005, it's like making $55,000 now. Think about how a new car costs around $55,000 today, according to Kelley Blue Book, and the usual price for a house is over $450,000. You can see things have gotten really costly. Even getting a simple first home at a $55,000 income today is tough. On top of rising costs, making $150,000 a year is less than it sounds after you pay taxes. How much tax you pay can change based on a lot of things, like if you're married or single, if you can lower your taxes with special cuts, and what your state tax is. Let's say for this example that about 20% of the money you make each year goes straight to taxes. That means you actually take home $80,000 a year, or about $6,666 each month. It's not a bad amount of money to have, but it's a lot less than what you make before taxes come out. Spending habit. When people make more money, they often end up spending more too. They get used to a certain way of living no matter how much they make. Folks who earn a lot are really prone to this spending creep because they make big paychecks. They think they can also spend more. On the other hand, if someone is just making enough to cover their bills, they can't really boost their spending much. For instance, they might decide to live in a pricier apartment because they feel they can afford it, but over time their costs can go up so much that they use up all the money they make. They think they're doing well because they make good money, so they feel they deserve to spend it. They believe they should have an apartment with no roommates, eat at high-end eateries, and buy whatever they want. It's like they're stuck in old times. They still think $150,000 is a lot of money, even though it's not worth as much as it was 18 years ago. Sure, making $150,000 a year can give you a good life, but it's not as grand as people think. One big reason folks have money trouble is because they spend more than they make. Instead of spending less than they earn, they use up all their income, or even more. When they get a pay bump, they use all that extra cash right away instead of putting it away for tough times. We've all heard the phrase, live below your means, but it's really important for taking care of your money. A lot of people just don't follow this advice. If you keep spending as much as you make or more, you can forget about getting ahead with your money. You'll be stuck in the same spot, barely able to cover your bills, so even if you're making a good amount, it doesn't mean you're set for life. Your spending habits are key. If you don't control them, you won't move forward financially. Even if you make a lot, you could end up by just scraping by. It's crucial to spend wisely and save when you can. It's the best way to really get ahead and have a better future. Failure to plan. One big reason folks have money problems is they don't get ready for surprises. They spend too much on daily life and don't save for emergencies. When something unexpected happens, like a car breaking down, it becomes a big issue. Money expert suggests having enough money saved to cover 8 to 12 months of bills. Other financial pros say you should have at least 3 to 6 months of bills saved up. It's really important to be ready for things that could go wrong. Stuff happens when we can't predict. If you don't have money saved, you'll keep juggling. Instead of buying things you don't need, focus on putting some money aside for emergencies. This helps you be more stable with your money and less stressed when things don't go as planned. If you don't have this safety net, you're likely to stay stuck in a cycle of not having enough money. So, get a plan to save for the unexpected. It's one of the smartest things you can do to take care of your financial future. Credit card. When people don't have enough emergency money, they get into more money trouble. LendingTree tells us that 58% of folks who can't pay their bills use credit cards to help. This may work for a short time, but it causes problems later. You'll have to pay that money back, usually in about a month. Then you have two choices, neither of which are good. First, you could pay the smallest amount you owe, called the minimum payment. But doing that means you'll also have to pay a lot of extra money called interest. Over time, this can add up to a lot more than you originally spent. The second choice is to try and pay all the money back at once, which might not be possible for many people. This means you're stuck in a bad money situation where you keep owing more and more. So, using a credit card like this is not a good long-term fix for money problems. It's better to have a savings plan for emergencies so you don't have to rely on credit cards and get into deeper debt. Being with a special person. It looks like being with a special person helps with money matters. LendingTree discovered that 56% of husband-wife teams find it easy to handle their monthly costs. This compares to 40% of folks who've never tied the knot and 36% of those who are no longer married. Sharing the cost of a place to live really helps with planning how to use your money, but be careful. This only works well if you and your partner agree on how to handle money. If you are with someone who likes to waste money, things won't go well in the end. Battling price rises. How can a regular person fight against rising prices so their money keeps its value each year? The best way is to make sure your pay goes up with the rising costs. For some, this might mean changing jobs now and then or leaving your current job for a place that pays better. Research says this works better than staying where you are and just getting tiny pay bumps that don't match the rising costs. For other folks, owning a shop or business that can set its own prices can help fight rising costs. You can also put money into things like company shares, houses, and other goods that help keep your money's value stable. After you break free from the cycle, it becomes simple to move ahead. When you're just getting by, building a safety net of money, paying back what you owe, and cutting back on spending can feel really hard. But if you're like most folks who don't think they're wasting money, taking small steps makes it much easier to improve. For instance, as you clear your credit card bills, it's not tough to save for emergencies. When you've saved enough in a special account, it's simple to start putting money away for when you're older. Things start to move faster, and you really begin to see change. This can bring hope to those who feel trapped by what's happening to them now. Do you believe people are living hand to mouth because they don't know how to spend less than they make? Or do you think that rising costs are making it too hard to do that? Kindly subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, drop your opinion in the comment section, and share my video.